Today's tutorial is sponsored by Rhandz Graphix. Hello guys, welcome back to my After Effects tutorial channel. This is Randy, and before jumping into After Effects, let me show you what we are gonna be making today.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Let us begin by creating a new composition, and I will name it placeholder 1. "4K 3840 by 2160, 30 frames per second and 7 seconds duration." Click OK. Then I will open my folder assets, and I will drop down this image into the timeline. Press this on my keyboard for the scale. I will scale it down to fit into my canvas. Go to composition, create a new composition. I will name it Parallax 1. Same, 3840 by 2160, 30 frames per second and 7 seconds duration. Click OK. Then I will highlight this placeholder 1, drag it down into my timeline. Press my keyboard Ctrl D to duplicate it. Enable the 3D layer here. Change the color code to cyan. Then grab my shape tool, double click it to create a mask. And I will change the mask blending mode here to subtract. Then open the mask and change the value on the mask feather 60. Then close it. Highlight the placeholder 1 again and press on your keyboard Ctrl D to duplicate it. Press M to open the mask and click this shape here. And change the value on the left to 200 and the top make it 200. Then at the bottom minus 2160 by 200, so 1960. Then the right side minus 200, 3640. Then click OK. I will change the color code here to fuchsia. Press on my keyboard Ctrl D to duplicate it again. Press M on my keyboard to see the mask. Click this shape. I will change this value to 400. And the bottom minus 200, it's 1760. The right minus 200, 3440. Then I will click OK. I will change the color code here to brown. Then I will close it and I will again press Ctrl D on my keyboard to duplicate it. Press M on my keyboard to see the mask. Click this shape. Change the value here from 400 to 600. And in the bottom I will minus the 1760 by 200, that's 1560. 3440 minus 200, 3240. Click OK. I will change the color code here to orange and press my keyboard Ctrl D to duplicate it. Press M to see the mask, then click the shape and change the value here on the left 800, the top 800. And on the bottom I will subtract 1560 to 200, that's 1360. And then on the right side subtract it with 200, 3040. Then click OK. Change the color code here to purple. Close it and press on my keyboard Ctrl D to duplicate it. Press M on my keyboard to see the mask, then click the shape. Change the left value to 1000 and on the top 2. Then subtract 1360 by 200, that's 1160. I will subtract 3040 by 200, that's 2840. And then I will click OK. Change the color code here to green. Now highlight this placeholder 1, Ctrl D on your keyboard to duplicate it. Highlight this bottom placeholder and disable the 3D layer here and disable the visibility here too. Highlight all these placeholders. Press P on your keyboard for the position and change the value on the Z position 1 by 1. So I will just start by 500 and the increment will be 500 each placeholder. Here I'm gonna be changing it to 1000. 1500, 2000, 2500, then 3000, then 3500. Then I will highlight it again. Press this on my keyboard for the scale. Then I will scale it up one by one. Just zoom it in, highlight this placeholder and scale it up. Just like that. Then highlight the second one and scale it up to the rest of the placeholders, and make sure that when you scale it up, it's almost the same of sizes, okay? Although it's not really as perfect as you want it to be, but it's okay as long as it's almost. I will just speed it up, guys, so that you will not wait for long, okay? Then I will enable the visibility of this layer. Then go to layer, create a new camera. I'm using one node 20mm preset camera. Click OK. Press P on my keyboard for position. Then move my playhead to about 2 seconds and create a keyframe in here. Then move my playhead back to the beginning of my timeline, and I will change this to 10,400. So as you can see that our layers are here outside the canvas. That's what we want. Then highlight these keyframes. Press F9 to ease it. Go to your graph editor. Highlight this point here and drag the handle on the left side. Then I will go to layer, create a new adjustment layer. I will go to effects and preset and go to color correction. I will add tint. I will pick the color picker here. I will just use this color. Then the map white, I will change this by copying this code and paste it there. Click OK and go to effects and preset, blur and sharpen. I want to add Gaussian blur. Then make sure that your playhead is at the beginning of your timeline. Create a keyframe on the blurriness and change the value to 60. Then move your playhead to about 2 seconds and 20 frames and make the blurriness 0. Then go to effects and preset, color correction, add curves. Just darken it a bit. Then highlight this adjustment layer, press T on your keyboard for opacity and change the opacity here to about 50%. Then go and highlight this bottom placeholder. Go to effects and preset, blur and sharpen. I will just add fastbox blur. Then the blur radius, I will change this to 60. So now if we will scrub our playhead, this is what we got. Now I will go to my project panel. I will close this image and open the brush strokes. Drop down this brush render into the timeline just above adjustment layer 1. Then right click my mouse, go to transform and fit to comp. Then again I will right click my mouse and recompose it. Then I will name it as brush render 1. Move all the attributes into the new composition and click OK. Then I will toggle switches modes in here. I will change the track matte here on the adjustment layer to alpha inverted matte. So now I will go again to layer. I will create a new adjustment layer. I will go to effects and preset, go to distort. I will use this optic compensation. Move your playhead to about 1 second and create a keyframe on the field of view. Change the value here to 115. Then move your playhead to about 2 seconds and 20 frames and change the value of your field of view to 0. Then go move forward to about 6 seconds. Change the value on your field of view about 90. And don't forget to check this reverse lens distortion. Open my project panel and drop down this PNG1 into the timeline just above the adjustment layer. Right away right click my mouse and pre-compose it. I will name it as PNG1. Move all the attributes into the new composition, click OK. Change the color here by going to effects and preset, go to generate, just add a fill on it. Take this color picker and choose this color. Press P on my keyboard for the position. Toggle switches in here. Make sure that it's a 3D layer. Then I will change this X position to 1517. Just make it farther from the camera. Like this. Then I will move my playhead at the beginning of my timeline and create a keyframe here. Move my playhead to about 5 seconds. I will change the Z value here to negative 2350. So I think this is good. Now all I have to do is to close this one. Highlight this brush render one, press my keyboard Ctrl D to duplicate it. Enable the visibility of this brush render, put it on top of the PNG one. And again, toggle switches mode in here, change the track matte to alpha matte. So now I'm gonna make a text here. I will type Optical Parallax Slideshow. I will just move this on the right side and change the color here to white. And then I will press P on my keyboard for the position. Toggle switches in here. Enable the 3D layer. Move it back more and drag it up. I will then double click my text because I want to change this optical to bold. I'm using Berlin Sans FB and change this to bold. And the slideshow I'm using only regular. So now I'm gonna create null layer and I will enable the 3D layer in here, parent the camera to the null object. Press P on my keyboard for position. Move my playhead to about 1 second. Hit the stopwatch in here to create a keyframe. Move my playhead to about 6 seconds. Change the Z position about 1000 or maybe 880. Yeah, I think this should be good enough. And highlight all the keyframes here. Press F9 to ease it. Then go to your graph editor and highlight this point in here. Drag the handle on the left side. Just like that. Close it. Preview it. Nice. Now I will go back and open my project panel. I will drop down this dust into the timeline. Right click my mouse and recompose it right away. I will name it dust. Move all the attributes into the new composition. Click OK. I will enable the 3D layer here. Drag it down just under the camera. Press T on my keyboard for the opacity. I'll just make the opacity here to about 50%. Now I will go back to my project panel and open this folder. I will drop it down into my timeline. Then press S on my keyboard. I will just scale it up like that. Press P on my keyboard for the position. I'll just drag it on the left side there. Press Ctrl D on your keyboard to duplicate it. And then press P on your keyboard again. Drag it on the right side. Highlight both of them. Press S on your keyboard to scale it up a bit like that. Right click my mouse, recompose it. I will name it splatter. Move all the attributes into the new composition. Click OK. Press T on your keyboard for the opacity. Change the opacity here to about 15%. Then enable the 3D layer in here. Drag this splatter just above the dust. Again, go to the project panel and open these particles. I'll just drop it just above the null object and right click my mouse. Go to transform. I want it fit to comp. I will right click my mouse again, pre-compose it, and I will name it particles. And move all the attributes into the new composition and click OK. I will enable the 3D layer in here. Press T on my keyboard for the opacity and I want the opacity only 50%. Toggle switches modes in here. Change the blending mode to add. Go back to dust composition and press T on your keyboard for the opacity. Change it to 100%. I'll just go back to particles, press T on my keyboard for the opacity, and I will just reduce it to about 30% only. I think that should be good enough. Close it. I will close these folders. Go to composition, create a new composition. I will name it plus elements. The width is 500 and the height is 500 pixels, 30 frames per second and 7 seconds duration. Click OK. I will zoom it in. Now grab your shape tool and change this to rounded rectangle tool. Then make sure that your stroke size is 20 pixels and the color is white and the fill is none. Go here and enable the title action save. Then I will draw like this. Make sure that this shape layer is not highlighted. Then grab your pen tool, make a plus like this. Open shape 2, expand these contents and go to stroke 1. Change the line cap to round cap, close it. Open the shape 1, go to stroke, change the line cap to round cap. And then click the icon here, choose this trim path. Open the trim path, change the start to 95. Create an expression by hitting the stopwatch on the offset while holding the Alt key on my keyboard, and I will type time times 50. Then let's see if we will play this one. There you go. So all I have to do is to go to composition and create a new composition, and I will name it multiple plus. And I will change the width here to 3840 by 2160. And the duration is still 7 seconds. Click OK. I will drop down these plus elements into the timeline, zoom it out, then Ctrl D on your keyboard to duplicate it 11 times. Then I will just arrange this to each desired location according to my preferences, okay? Then I will highlight it all, press S on my keyboard for the scale. I will just randomly change the scale on it one by one. So probably here I will just make this as 15%. So I will just speed it up, guys, because I don't want you to wait for long. So now we are done. All I have to do is to highlight it all and enable the 3D layer in here, close it and go to layer, now object. Then I will enable the 3D layer in here, press P on my keyboard for the position. Then I will highlight all these plus elements, parent it to the null object. Then I will create a keyframe here, move all these elements outside of the canvas. And that should be good enough, and then move my player to about 6 seconds, change this Z position to 0. So let's see. So now I have to go back to the parallax one, open it up, and I will drop down this multiple plus into the timeline. Press T on my keyboard for the opacity and make this opacity only 50%. So now we're good here. Let's try to preview it. So that should be okay. All I have to do is to go to my project panel and create a new folder. I will name it scene 1. I will highlight all these compositions and drag it into my scene 1 folder. Then again I will create a new folder and I will name it scene 2. I will open the scene 1 folder. I will highlight all these compositions and go to edit, duplicate it, and then I will drag these compositions into my scene 2 folder. Close the scene 1 and open the scene 2, and then highlight it all and double click your mouse to open it up. Delete compositions that you don't tweak. I will also delete these compositions that I don't use. Okay. So all I have to do is to open the placeholder 2 and delete this image. Then open my project assets, go to image and drop down this footage into the timeline. Press S on my keyboard for the scale. I'll just scale it down. And open the parallax 2. Highlight all these placeholders. Press my keyboard Alt and hold it. Replace the placeholder 1 to the placeholder 2. I will also replace the PNG 1 to PNG 2. All the compositions here from 1, I will change it to 2. Later on, when we will decide to tweak it, it's not affecting the scene 1. delete this text. Now I will open this PNG2 and change this image to PNG2. Now go open Parallax 2, press S on your keyboard for the PNG2 for the scale. Change this to 50%. Then move your playhead at the beginning of your timeline. Press P on your keyboard for the position. Drag this on the left side. I will delete this brush render. Toggle switches mode in here. Change the track matte here to no track matte. I will highlight it and go to edit, duplicate it. Then again, I will place my playhead at the beginning of my timeline. Press P on my keyboard for the position, and I will just drag this bad boy on the right side. I think that should be good enough. Now I will close it, and I think this one, there's a big plus here. I will go back and highlight again these plus elements too, because I screwed up. I will change this to multiple plus. Now go to composition, create a new composition. I will name it main. 3840 by 2160, 30 frames per second, and 7 seconds duration. Click OK. Then I will drop down this parallax one into the timeline, and also this parallax 2. Then move my play to about 5 seconds. Press open bracket key in order to move the parallax 2 layer. I will go back to composition and change the time duration here to probably 12 seconds. And click OK. Looks good to me. So this is now what we got. So guys, we are now done with our tutorial, and I hope that you have learned something on it and enjoy watching this tutorial. Don't forget for non-subscribers to hit the subscribe button, like, comment, or share it to your friends, and don't forget to press the notification bell so that you will be notified if I have video tutorials upload in the next coming days. For those people who already subscribed to my channel, thank you very much. It really helps me a lot. And my thoughts for today, guys, is that learning sometimes intimidates you, and if you persevere on it, it's an act of heroism to yourself. Thank you very much, guys, for watching, and see you next time. God bless.